All right, what's the next day for backtesting? December 5th, 2023, an inside day. It doesn't go above the high of the previous day. It doesn't go below the low of the previous day. It's inside the candle. Those are some of the trickiest days. Again, all right, so let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. Here's the high of the previous day at the top and the high and the low of the previous day at the bottom. You can see those white lines. And let's take a look at what happens. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at this. I got to click something real quick. Here we go. That's right here. This candle's the high of the previous, this white line's the high of the previous day. This white line is the low of the previous day. You can see it didn't get anywhere near it. So it's in the middle, and we're just looking for any kind of breakers that might be coordinated with other Fibonacci's and stuff like that on other time charts. But if we don't get anything, and we're just looking for a raw move and a raw pullback and a raw FVG, here's one right here. Okay, it just at the opening 9:30 it takes off. All right, and it closes and it creates a fair value gap. And honestly, I don't even know if I'd take this, okay, because it's in the middle of a range, and it's at the high of this move here. It's not pulling back 50%, which is down here is where I'd rather get it. It's a riskier trade. It's just using a fair value gap, nothing else, but it does work. Okay, on the way down, if we look at this as some kind of a breaker move, let's take a look at this breaks up and then it breaks down. Then we have fair value gaps, FVG on the way down. We got a couple of them here. The high one does not get tested, but the low one here does. You see these tests right here. And it probably was not a good trade. It didn't go down very far. It probably would have been a break-even trade when it comes back up. At some point, I would have moved my stop to break even. And as it goes down, it comes back up. It might have stopped me out. Depending on how this is played, it could have made something. That's the only thing for the downside. On the 5-minute chart, it doesn't go to the high of day, which would have been a better place for me to have more confidence. It doesn't go to the low of day. So those are the areas that we're really wanting to see these breaker blocks and fair value gaps created. But that's it for the 5-minute. Let's look for the 1-minute chart now. Same thing's happening. Did we get anything that looks like a breaker block down here at the bottom? I guess you could draw it out in some wild way. You could probably go like this, and then it breaks up here. And if you do, let's take a look at that. If we were to be using the 1-minute chart on this, let's take a really close look at this. I like what I'm seeing here. If I was watching the 1 minute and I was really paying attention, if this had some other kind of reason for getting into this position, say it was at a Fibonacci level or some type of powerful moving average or something to give me a reason, there is a fair value gap created right here on this breakup. And it does work quite nicely. All right, and here's another one here, created fair value gap. Now that one was violated, but it created another one on the way up right here, and a fair value gap inside a fair value gap is a good sign. And the red candles down are becoming support, which is a bullish order, and that's a good reason to jump in one of these fair value gaps. You can tell that these red candles are completely stepping stones for the next move up. And that may be a reason why to take this, and to come to think of it, because we can really see that stepping stone, red block, stepping stone pattern for order flows. That's the kind of order flow you want to see. Red candles become stepping stones, right? Red candles become stepping stones, become stepping stones, become stepping stones. That's a strong move up. And here we have this fair value gap tested, and I would say, why not try that, There's a couple fair value gaps up here that don't do a whole lot. This one didn't do anything. This one didn't do anything, and that's why when you see that activity after this big, I'm going to be honest with you, after a big move up like that, you definitely want a pullback somewhere. And let's try the Fibonacci just from the very bottom. And you see that it doesn't quite come down to 50%. But if we were using this last leg up here, it comes down quite a bit to the 76%, which is a good deep, OTE, a good discount on this last push. I got to be honest with you, I might have tried that one right there. That one right. Seeing these fail, looking at this one, looking at it chop around, seeing this one go up and coming back to test after putting that pin tail in, I would think this is going to go down a lot further. This pin tail sweeping the stops on this side. I honestly might have thought, this is going to go down even more, and I might have skipped this one. I might have been demanding it to come down. But what fair value gaps do we have? The only one we have is this one. This one is a double fair value gap, so I would have been excited to see it pull back to that. That would have given me a nice deep 76% pullback. It just never made it that far. But boy, here's the real deal. Right out of the gate, if you got a real strong bias on this day, and I don't know why you would, let's take a look at this. The day is opening under the 8, and it's chopping around in the middle of a day here. I don't know why you'd be bullish on this. The whole week has been flat. And so I'm not sure, why I would be bullish on a day like that until it gets back over the 8 and starts closing high, giving us a trend line break to the upside, some higher highs and stuff like that. I don't know why I would be so convinced that, hey, I'm going to take this trade right here. But if I see this as a breaker block, if I see this little tiny reversal as an order block, if I see this fair value gap and I have a small enough risk, I might just go ahead and take that trade anyway. It doesn't have to always be perfect, but we try to get the perfect trade, but sometimes you can't find a perfect trade and get a less perfect trade that actually does well. So that is the 1 minute chart on this day, right? We'll see you next time on the next back test. Peace.